welcome to Open to Connect. This is an opportunity where I get to bring amazing people on and they talk about networking or job searching or layoff stories or any of those things. And today I have Miracle Joy. And we met, actually, she reached out to me and had this presence, even in text messages, that I felt compelled to answer. And that's not something that a lot of people on LinkedIn get as answers to their requests. So I thought and then you continue to nurture relationships maybe better than anybody I've actually encountered because it's so thoughtful and intentional that I really wanted you to come on and just talk to people about that networking aspect and who you are. You're an ebook creator and tech enthusiast and all those things. So what are you doing now? Because I met you in the job search, but I'd love to know, where did you land? Are you loving it? What are you what are you up to?
Hi, Jacqueline. Well, first, I want to thank you so much for having me on your show today. I'm a big supporter of what you do, and I can't wait to talk to you and hope everyone enjoys. So, today, I would say I'm always evolving. I currently have a role in the customer success area of the tech space. I work at an education benefits company. I'm really enjoying it there. There's so much to learn about education, our country, and I feel like it's really helping me develop as a person, communicating with people, furthering my networking skills, which I always try to share on my LinkedIn. I just, love to continue growing, meeting people, and connecting. So I try to do that in a genuine way as possible.
I love that. And again, it's like that's what drew me to you. And we got on a call, and it was supposed to be 15 minutes or 20 minutes or something. And we talked for an hour, hour and a half or something well, the first time we met. So I would like you to talk to the audience a little bit about, what is your approach to networking? And do you do it, I guess I shouldn't say and then add all these questions, but I am curious if you do it mostly online, or do you have offline scenarios where you are networking as well?
Well, to be honest with you, I think life is an opportunity to network. I try to network wherever I am. It could be, you picking up your food. It could be you out in public at an event. It could a conference, a work event, a personal event. It could be on LinkedIn. It could be with your neighbor. I always just think any opportunity that you're conversating with someone is a chance to connect, learn about them, share about yourself, and continuing to make connections.
Yeah. And then how do you feel like you kind of bridge that gap between I just met you into actual genuine connections? Because you've already mentioned that a couple times as wanting it to be a genuine thing. So how do you get there?
Okay, everyone, please don't take this in a creepy way. But if you're really interested in learning about the person and making a solid connection, creepy, but I was taught that you have to observe the person, what they're doing. You have to be a team player. You have to be interested in them, maybe find out about their social medias, go on their accounts, see what they're interested in, what they talk about, what they're passionate about. So when you have these conversations with them, you can speak about things that are familiar to them, and it'll feel like, wow, either I really have a lot of stuff in common with this person, or we're just meant to be. And that really helps.
I like that. It reminds me of and I've even cited her a couple times. When my daughter was 12, she would make friends instantly. And I am like, that was not my skill set. And people would know her and she'd know all these names. And I'm like, we're kind of new here. We just moved here. How are you doing that? And she was like, I ask questions until they say something that reminds me of their name, like Artsy Annie or something like that. And it just sounds a lot like what you're talking about, is be curious about that other person until you find that click point. So
Yes,
yeah. Awesome.
absolutely.
Yeah. And then I like the part about where you just really try to observe someone, because often what I've learned, I've started taking improv classes, and what I really learned is this whole aspect of listening to people and presence, and not thinking about what is the next thing I'm going to say in this conversation, but really taking the time to make that um, the real connect, the part where it gets authentic and not so rote or nervous. Yeah.
I agree with you. And to be honest with you, I feel like, making connections with people and creating a network, I've always been a student at life, and I consider myself someone, like, I use the word always evolving. I used to have a tech series on my YouTube channel where every week I would make a video about emerging things in the tech industry, and that was kind of like a word that I use all the time to describe the tech industry, advancements that are occurring, updated news, and I would say things are always evolving. So I'm not even a professional when it comes to networking, because I feel like it's a skill. And I say that because when you first get on LinkedIn, you're not a professional in any capacity, whether you've been in the industry for years and you're a senior level executive or you're in the C-suite position. There are so many connections I feel like I have wasted or not gotten full advantage of, or left cold, or wish I said more, or just wish that I could expunge more from the interaction, the transaction, the energy than I did. And sometimes I think I want to go back in my inbox on LinkedIn and just go back maybe years and try to connect with those people again. No one is doing that. And I just feel like things like that, it could come off weird, but I also really thought about you and were wondering how you were doing. We once had a conversation. Why not?
I love that. And especially I was because I've had that kind of aha myself, is people are like, it was when I was recording my course actually, and I was looking at the, what if you're connected to someone and you haven't talked to them for a while, and now all of a sudden they work at a company that you want to apply to, and that can be, as you were talking about, really awkward. So, but I was just kind of realized at some point, well, they haven't reached out either. So we're actually both in that same uh, scenario, and maybe they've wanted to reach out to me, and then the thought, well, I haven't reached out to them in so long that it would be weird now. So we don't know what the other person's actually experiencing. And so I love that, going back and trying to refresh the inbox. It takes forever to scroll back on LinkedIn to get that far, but I wish I had a better chat inbox system. Here we are.
It does. And I don't know. I know we haven't talked about this yet. I'm so sorry. I keep adjusting my headphone.
That's okay.
But I
We're
know
live.
I know we haven't talked about this yet, but I just feel like there's a certain type of ways that people expect you to be in, the tech industry, in the job world in general, on LinkedIn. There's certain dynamics I feel like that you as a person or profile fits in. And I feel like, me personally, and you can probably share this as well, I have found a lot of fulfillment in doing other things outside of, what I currently do for my main financial source, if you understand what I'm saying. And I just think that people should, get into that more on LinkedIn, because there will be so many more happy people on that platform if everyone did that as a way.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people kind of come in and say, "Oh, don't make LinkedIn a different social media. Don't come in and act like it's TikTok or something." But then at the same time, to your point, like authentic connection. I remember when I first started working at Microsoft, and I felt like I could never, like the meetings were just a wall that I couldn't get like that connection with another person. And what changed is when I wore a Hamilton sweatshirt one day. And then somebody was like, "Oh, you've seen Hamilton." I've seen, and then instantly our whole relationship changed. So I think, to your point, sometimes talking about those other things are actually the point where the true magic happens, because you find your people, you find your other, for me, improv people or musical people, based on the things that aren't the standard on the platform.
Yes, I would agree to that. And I'm the kind of person where, like, you didn't anticipate wearing the Hamilton shirt or sweatshirt, a piece of clothing that you were wearing. You didn't expect that to get so much attention. But I just love working with people and networking with people that are very personable.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I like to meet people that's different than me, because I feel like that's how you expand as a person in whatever capacity you wish. But I also like to meet people that are into being social and that are into, just conversating and networking back, because I want to work with lively people. Whenever I've entered a job interview or a new space, I've always said, inside, I hope that the people that work here are lively and that there's communication flowing and it's not a wall, like you said. I couldn't do that.
Yeah. Do you feel like you have any special skills on teasing out whether or not like your team or your coworkers in that new role? I mean, you're in customer success, so obviously you like to interact with people and build those relationships naturally. It seems like a perfect fit. Uh, but I love even interview stories. If you're trying to figure out, I guess even with customers, they're trying to figure out, are they, how do I reach them? How are we going to work well together? Are there red flags? Any of those things that could happen in the interview space in order to kind of give you that insight from afar, so to speak.
Yes, absolutely. Um, I first try to think about you want to appear as a person first. So try to see if you can find common ground with them. Like I was saying earlier, study them, get to know who they are so you can speak to them on a personable level. And then just be very serious and passionate with what you're discussing. In a job interview, I feel like you have to align with the job description and really be that person that they're looking for, embody that person, speak like how that person would speak, and just know what you're talking about when you're talking about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
um it's, to me, I feel like it's always easy to do because it's just having a conversation with someone, but a higher caliber conversation. So I would practice that, learning how to have a high caliber conversation with someone, and it will transcend in any area of your life.
Sure. And then I love to brush on, and this is kind of one of those, as you're even saying, high caliber conversation. I started almost feeling nervous on the inside because it's like, oh, I immediately pictured VPs or people that were in executive leadership that I worked with, and how I had a lot of lessons to learn. And going from a really huge employment gap back into big tech was a lot of things to learn. But sometimes I hadn't really even practiced that high caliber presence to know. I think I took it too far on the, oh, I'm just going to be myself. But there is that tension of being yourself and kind of office politics, or sitting in the room with people who actually do have levels above you or years of experience above you. Do you have any insights on that sort of scenario?
Honestly, I could totally understand where you're coming from, and your apprehensions regarding, oh my gosh, these people are so much ahead of me. It's almost like, I don't want to say, imposter syndrome. Everyone loves talking about that on LinkedIn. I feel like it could be that, but I also feel like to a certain extent, like I was saying earlier, studying people, knowing what they are interested in, knowing that if you bring up something or if you say something, it's going to interest them as well.
Mm.
Because people don't like to admit it, but in the job world, in your place of employment, you want to be liked. That's important. You want to be liked as a person. You'll go so much further than sometimes how your resume can look. So you have to come across with a big likability factor. um, be a little bit of a salesman or a saleswoman, know what you're going to say or how you're going to appeal to them. And I think those types of things someone could do in the job force when it comes to speaking to someone of a higher position or just trying to get noticed.
Mm-hmm. I love that so much. And you've talked about, even in your when we were talking about who are you? I saw, AI enthusiast, and it just really reminded me of, at one point I realized I was not syncing well on the team that I was in. And so I literally was going into the AI and saying, okay, these are my strong points. This is this person's strong point. Why are we not getting along here? And it really did break down exactly what you're talking about, what's important to them. And I had to learn that this person values data. I value empathetic customer stories and feelings and stuff. They want to know data. So to bridge that gap, I had to start talking like a data person more than I'm the voice of the customer and I will always stand for for them, and carry that banner, because I can still stand for the customer with data. It's just I had to learn that different approach. So I love that you bring things like that up.
Absolutely. And I think that's a perfect example. I'm so inspired by your story and what you have been through. How you talk about you've taken such a large career gap and you were able to step back into the job force at such an amazing company, and you are continuing to trail on and do amazing things for yourself that you find fulfillment in. And I just think it's very important for the audience to know that that is the correct direction to take, to not stop your life, to continue embracing your passions, growing as a person, because ultimately that is what, you as a job seeker, if you're searching for a job or if you're just, passively looking, that is going to be what attracts them to you, is you still being alive and contributing to society or your neighborhood or the world in some capacity. That is so important. And Jacqueline is a great example of that.
Thank you. I'm going to get all shy. But no, I think I love that, because when I mentor so many job seekers, what is happening often, and is the process right now is taking longer than is expected, or longer than it has in the past, particularly in the tech world. And I see people living in that discouragement from rejection. And it is like, even if it's a job that I'm like, oh, I'm so not qualified for this. Even when I get those rejections, it's still like, oh, they didn't like me. So there's all these pieces of rejection and rejection, so many of them, that people forget that it's a great opportunity to do something during the time that passes. Like, I love that you mentioned your YouTube channel. If somebody is in tech, now is a great time to build the resume of, I got on video and talked about this thing that I love. Something like that, where it just shows I volunteered and helped, I say, charity organizations usually don't have the budget to hire great high talent tech people. Go work for them for a while, build that resume, that skill set network there, things like that. So I love the stay busy and keep learning that you just talked about.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And something else that I want to add is the things that I do, the hobbies that I have, my passions. No one told me to go and do those things or to go and showcase those things. It so naturally happens that the things that I'm interested in, such as, making the YouTube videos, making content, building a portfolio, even being interested in cameras and technology all around, no one has said, oh, you should do those things. It's personal and it's specific to the individual. You are your own niche. And maybe people, if they realize that, there'll be so many more content creative people in this world, because people will be realizing what their gift is, and that's exactly what you bring to the job force. So I feel like that's important to talk about as well.
It is. And I really like that idea, because when we're talking about networking, there often is that aspect of who's in your niche, who are your, I say that I'm going to put on a shirt, I'm not everybody's cup of tea, but I'm somebody's kombucha. I know we laughed. We bonded about that actually when we talked the first time, but it really is, you have your niche, and sometimes it takes a while to find your kombuchas. I mean, it just does, but then there's the consistency side. And if you have social media presence, how long did it take before you started kind of seeing life come, or those people that joined your tribe, so to speak, and started buying into, I like this person, I want to hang out with them? Because niching is scary in its own right too, because you're declaring, this is the thing I want to be known for. And sometimes it's like, what if I get it wrong?
No, absolutely. And to be honest with you, I'm a very humble person. I mean, of course, I, believe in self-love. That's part of my brand, empowerment, advocating for women in the tech industry, just promoting a positive mental space. If you don't have that, you can't proceed with your goals or aspirations. I just think it's important to realize like what support is, who your support system is, and what you can do to continue on just being a better version of yourself. Like, I feel like that's the easiest way to really put it.
I love that. And when I first started using LinkedIn, I was just like, I'm just going to talk to who I was 3 years ago when I didn't know how to overcome a career gap. And it really was just that, because I like to remind people you're ahead of somebody. If you've done it one time, you're ahead of the person who's never done the thing at all. Talk to them. What did you learn in a day? It's content, right?
Absolutely. And I love making it because I just think it's fun, the creation aspect of it, how you get to edit it, how, you'll find your people. I'm still finding my people. And I love when people find me because then it's just another person that we can share about each other's interest in. I can become your cheerleader. You can become my cheerleader. I mean, hello, that's what networking is. That's what a connection is. And it
Mm-hmm.
just so happens that if you do that long enough, then these become people that you care about. And that's a strong bond right there because, hate to say it, but, we're busy. We can't care about every single person if they're not making an impact in our life. So once you do that, I feel like it makes it easier to, foster things from a connection if that's what you're trying to do.
Yeah, I love that so much because it is it is finding who are your cheerleaders. And sometimes life gets busy, but when you have that strong connection, when you come back, they're the ones that miss you. Or as I'm learning, even with building the business and all these things, is I have people just randomly sending me stuff every once in a while or tagging me in a post, and it's everything I need in that moment to keep going, because I'm like, wow, I'm not forgotten. Because job seeking, networking, at the beginning can feel lonely, or like you're shouting out into this void, and you're like, nobody's answering. So I really like that concept of, even if you don't have your tribe yet, go find the people who you resonate with, because if you keep interacting with them, guess what, you cross into that friend zone at some point, and you're like, they'll do anything for you at that point. So I like that. Thank you.
Absolutely. No, you're welcome. Thank you. And I just feel like, to be honest with you, sometimes I feel like I'm still shouting in a void. But, I don't know if it was you that said it or someone else in the Microsoft mentorship group. That's how we met everyone. Her and a few other individuals had an amazing mentorship group that I took part in because of the support aspect, and it was just wonderful. But I wanted to say that I think it was you that said your voice is your power, and you have to continue using your voice. I shout in that voided room and I don't get responses. Sometimes I don't get the connection that I want, or I don't get the email response that I want, but I continue shouting, and maybe to other people, maybe to other brands, to other businesses. Maybe that wasn't for you, but you cannot give up on putting your message out there, networking, trying, and getting what you want.
I like that. And then I do want to highlight, because one of the things that really sets you apart from so many, I'm like, I don't know if anybody does it as well as you do in my world, is when you attend the thing. Like if you when you came to the mentorship calls, which they are still happening. If anybody needs mentorship or support right now, they do happen still Fridays at 10:30 a.m. Pacific. Shameless plug, but also passion point. So like if you go to the mentorship calls, last week you watched this podcast while we were recording with Adet, and immediately you turned it, you do this all the time, you're like, oh, I saw this article, or your post meant this to me because, and then you detail what you got out of it. And that, to me, is why I said this needs to be called a networking masterclass, because very few people, so many people, I wonder, did they even read my profile? If they sent me that, they could not have looked at the headline even to know, um, in that reach out. But then you are over there detailing why something mattered. I would love for you to talk about that discipline, what it's done for you. When did you start doing it? How did it change networking for you?
I've always done it in every capacity, even with friends, family. I'm a naturally excited person. Things excite me in this world. I'm not boring. I'm not dead. I get excited by things. I feel like life tries to kill that out of you. And I feel like people on LinkedIn are afraid to be excited, but that's part of how you have a connection in a network. I just feel like when you say things that a person cares about and it excites you, it's going to excite them too. And then you guys just shared an emotion and energy. And what better way to brighten someone's day than by doing
Mm-hmm.
that? When I was job seeking, I honestly did it sometimes, and I was just trying to motivate the other person, because we all know how it feels to be down or to, have moments of disparity. Those are times where you have to really dig deep down inside and just, you know, be strong. So that's what I would say.
I don't remember what it was again, because you reached out and I was in a season where I was so work busy that people were asking me, do you have 15 minutes here or there all the time? And I always say my heart is big and my time is often small. I have more time now that I'm got laid off. But then it was just like I had to be extremely choosy is the right word on who am I going to invest in. So I don't even remember what you said, but I almost can guarantee it was you coming in and saying, I loved your post about blah, blah, and then thing, insight. And then that was instant motivation for me to say yes to meeting with you. So I think lesson for people who are struggling getting responses back. Find the creators. I say it all the time. Find the creators and interact with their stuff. As a creator, it makes my day when someone comes and interacts with my stuff. It feels like it wasn't a waste of time creating, editing, as you said, videos, or trying to figure out how do I tell the story best, or what am I talking about today? All of those things are work. And you have that special way of that could talk to people about. You guys just do it. Like, be truly interested in the other person.
Yes, be truly interested in another person, because according to the law of reciprocity, you want to give out what is given to you. So if you're truly interested in someone, then rightfully so, someone is going to become truly interested in you.
Mm-hmm.
And that is how, you just, I feel like, increase your life. I was listening to, I don't know if it was a TED talk, it was some video that I was listening to earlier in the morning. I always listen to things in my background and I hear, what it says, but I can't remember where it was from. But it was saying that it was a study of this school that was going to try to create that you should have points every time you get happier. It was in my economics class. And they were talking about it's the diminishing law of return, where the more you think you want of something and the more you get of it, you realize that you really don't want it. It's almost as if someone were to give you a lot of water. And at first you love this water. It's so great to you. You really needed it. But as they keep giving you the water, you realize, oh, this is not as good as I thought it was. So I just feel like it could be like that.
I like that. I was a personal trainer at one point, and I would tell people that about desserts. It's like the first 2 bites are always the most delightful. So it's okay to stop eating. They're just going to get less exciting as you keep eating it. So you don't have to finish the whole thing. There's my fitness tip of the day, which I didn't expect to come out of this conversation, but it is exactly that. Is that law of diminishing returns? Is the pleasure is great at the beginning, and then it starts to diminish. And the same thing can be said for even networking growth. Is you think, like, I started out thinking I'm going to be a top voice. And then I started growing and I realized I wasn't ready to handle the influx of requests and scaling. I hadn't thought about scaling a network. It was all a lot of learning. So it's like, define where you're going to. And I think you do that well. You knew from the day one that I talked to you, this is what I want. This is the jobs I'm going for. And you were able to articulate it. I left no doubts. And then I connected with you with someone else that I knew, because you were not afraid to say, this is who I am. And this is what I'm looking for, which goes back to niching again.
Absolutely. And one thing that I just hear a lot, as I was saying earlier in the live, I hope you guys are enjoying. But one thing I was saying earlier is, that's the content creation part. You have to stay engaged with your audience. But I was just saying earlier that I love advocating for women in the tech industry, because men have the audacious spirit and attitude to really go for what they want, really be assertive. And I feel like women have to be that more. No one is going to know what you want more than yourself. So you have to be able to talk to that.
Yeah. There's a book somewhere right behind me. It's How Women Rise. And it just talks about the different things that we ladies do that harm ourselves because we don't think we can take up space at the table. So
excuse me.
Yeah, you're fine. I was like, it's live. I'm surprised my dogs haven't sung the song of their people yet behind me. So happens at some point. But yeah, it's like women don't always take up space at the table or declare what they want or go for the jobs they want. And somewhere that script has been written for us that we shouldn't. So I love that you advocate for that.
Absolutely. Because to be honest with you, I've wanted someone to advocate for me regarding that. So I just, like we were talking about earlier, I like to put out there what I like to see in the world.
Yeah, I love that. And then again, I talked to a bunch of people who want to do these things. They know they should do these things, and they're afraid of taking step one. What would you say to someone who's just kind of caught in fear? And then to add a stat, I was looking at how many people post on LinkedIn versus are on LinkedIn. And it's like there are a billion people on LinkedIn. Only 1 to 3% ever even do a post. So it's like, think of that opportunity of how much you set yourself apart just by doing that one thing. So talk to our people who are afraid, because you're doing scary things. You're doing videos, you're talking to people, and somebody out there is probably saying, that's not me. I can't do that.
I mean, I feel like you could either watch the person have the life you want, or you can start taking the steps to create that life for yourself. And I heard someone say that, like, you can spend hours consuming so much content about other people, but what do you do in your own personal life to better it? So I feel like the more that you're proactive, the better your life will be. And myself in particular, I feel like I have a very special, intricate relationship with fear. It's something that I have acknowledged, that we probably all have acknowledged for like a young age. If you really know who you are, you know what your fears are, you know what your triggers are. But I feel like, you cannot let that keep you from getting the opportunities you need. That's what your brain does. It tries to trick you into saying no or being comfortable so you can reserve that energy when you really want to do what you want to do. You have to just go beyond yourself and not be afraid.
I love that so much, because I also feel like it's kind of new when I'm like, oh, I have a relationship with fear too, but it's almost like the more afraid I am to do something, the more I start to say, that's probably what I should be doing, because my brain is over here trying to keep me alive, right? So everything is a threat. So, it's like anything could be a threat. Going to the grocery store can be a threat in my brain if I let it. But it's that taking that first step and kind of training your brain that this is not going to be the thing that ends me. Only one thing ever will, and it's probably not doing a post on LinkedIn or reaching out to someone. So, yeah, I love
That's
it.
so true. That's so true. And I don't know, I always hear this too. People say, one, reinvent yourself. But I also hear people say that with the climate that we're in, with our world, our country, everything, the job market, anything, insert what type of climate you're referring to, you have to stand out. You have to, not be afraid to go above the status quo, be different, even when you're applying to a job. And the reason how I know this is because I've had support. I've had a lot of support. You can get support anywhere. I've had a mentor. His name is Alan Hughes, for anyone that wants to look him up on LinkedIn. He's in the sales world. It helps you to become a more well-rounded person when you're able to learn from other people that are in different backgrounds, different than yourself. And it just helps you to become that person that's not afraid to go after opportunities and speak to people, know how to say, know what to say, know your strong points. It's the support and the breaking down the barriers, that the advocating for yourself. It's all those common themes that I feel like really adds up to everything you're talking about.
Yeah. And I was, you were talking, I was really thinking about I tell people a lot, do these things when your network is small, because you're going to learn, and you're like, I make mistakes nonstop. Like today, I accidentally deleted the whole header off of my website. Can't get it back. So I have to go in and redo the whole thing. Like truly redo the whole thing. Okay. Not fun, but making mistakes. So I tell people, just go embrace the mistakes. I actually think my website will end up better than the first time because I've learned so much. But um, it's that, do these things even when you're afraid, like you're talking about. Just do them. It's okay to make the mistakes. Start with somebody who's not a VP of a company so that you're a little more polished when you do reach out to the directors or the vice presidents or whatever, wherever you need to go. So
Absolutely. And another thing that I want to add is I feel like I've learned so much from even being on LinkedIn because it's a very valuable resource of
Mhm.
people around me that have given helpful tips. And I just feel like if you really care about something, you start to become a collection of the people you hang around. That's
Mhm.
why they say hang around, the right type of people. I am connected with recruiters. They're great recruiters that I follow. I'm connected with people in the sales industry. I'm connected with job coaches and people in marketing and just all different types of energy, cybersecurity, all different types of industries, different types of people. And I feel like you just learn the more you surround yourself in the environment that you want to be in. That makes all the difference.
Mhm. I think that people don't actually realize or maybe they realize it, but it's like take a moment and pause and think. LinkedIn is an opportunity to sit at the feet of giants in industry. Like there are authors on there. There are people who've been doing what you're doing for 20 years and they're giving free information out all the time. What an opportunity to interact and even build that network with those people. I often make it a challenge for myself is like, okay, here's an author. I like their book. Are they on LinkedIn? Yes, they are. How long will it take before I can get them to respond to a comment of mine? And I gamify it to see if it happens. And at first I was going to try and get Brene Brown. And then I realized that she probably has social media managers that handle all that anyway. So I was like, maybe I should get a little bit smaller of a giant, but the opportunity is so there to interact with people you never would be able to if you were in the same room with them because everybody else would be flocking to talk to them.
Absolutely. And I'm going to tell you here on live, I think you should go for it, Jacqueline. I think you should email Miss Brown and you should let her know what you love about her book and send her your favorite page. Just really interact with her because when you do that, it's going to make you feel better. A few days ago, as I was telling you, like I'm trying to get into the UGC because I love making content and I'm still
Mhm.
building my network on my social media platforms. So because I love making content, I'm trying to pitch myself to multi-million dollar brands and just say like, hi, I'm out there. This is what I can offer. I can be this for you. And you never know where that may take you, who may see that. And I'm putting myself out there, but I'm enjoying the
Mhm.
process.
Yes, if anybody doesn't know, UGC is user generated content. It's a little bit companies hire normal people to go try their stuff and then talk about it. And I know that because I've also just got exposed to that world on TikTok. I was like, what are they talking about? So I went into their live, and so now I have a portfolio that I'm working on as well, just to, hey, this is who I am, and let's do it. So this is another opportunity if they are unemployed, do you have a dog or a cat? Can you feed them treats and do a video about it and like make money for doing that stuff? There's so many opportunities. Just exactly what I found. I stumbled on it on a TikTok live. I was out of where I normally would be. Somebody was talking about it. I got curious, and now I'm building a portfolio because you don't know where your connections will take you or where your curiosity will take you. So, see, I'm like, you said UGC, and now I'm like, we should have made the whole thing about you, but no, we can do another podcast if we
Oh my
need
gosh. And talking about UGC, I would love to have many more meetings with you, but just talking about UGC, I use Copilot to do it. And because of that, because my mind was so blown, right?
to. Mhm.
Ooh, it's so incredible. I created the whole PowerPoint presentation with Copilot. And I used Perplexity because that's like the AI tool that I like to use of choice. I put all of my thoughts and it created a prompt, text blurbs, and I put that into Copilot. So much automation happened. I literally, like, if it could have been emoji, I would have been like, I was so mind blown, and I just added the videos into it. I'm so excited. I want to show you now. And it's just been a fun process. Like I said, like you said, like we both said, you never know what can come out of it. And
Mhm.
it's supposed to be fun. So let it be fun.
Right. And these really, you get to define what are your passion points for the companies, and they're like, oh, they have a dog. I was like, if I have a dog, if I have the pickiest dog in the world, if my dog eats your treats, then they're good treats. I promise. So, things like that. But it really is an opportunity to put yourself out there. And I'm also using AI a lot in forming the portfolio. I'm just at the point where I need to select my videos and make sure they're what I want to represent. But I've been having a lot more fun making videos, knowing that I would like to eventually send them for UGC so people can know what they get when they get me. But it's another income stream that somebody who's unemployed right now could be doing from home.
Absolutely, absolutely. And just getting off on that ledge little by little.
Mm-hmm.
And I found everything out through social media. TikTok, like you said, I love posting videos on TikTok talking about, different products I use, my journey in my personal life with school, with the tech industry, with technology, talking about my ebook or empowerment. TikTok is like a search engine, just like LinkedIn is. And you should treat TikTok, LinkedIn like a Google. I feel like that's the power of these social media networks. And the more you're on there, the more you're engaged with people, making content yourself, just being a human in this world, the more people will start to notice you. And that equals more opportunities.
Yes, yes. And then the other thing is, based on what you're looking for, guess what? The algorithm picks up on what you like. So then you get more of it to you without you having to search so much. So it's like you can define that space to be what you want that space to be. Be careful, because I got into a rabbit hole that now I can't get again. Like, it's going to take a while for it to show me something different. But the algorithm is what it is, and you can use it to your advantage on all of these things and get that content to you, those people to you. So I went looking for recruiters on TikTok because they were over there making recruiting videos, things that most of my skills that I brought into this business are because I sat with recruiters and learned from them. And when 5 of them say the same thing, okay, it's probably true. If 10 of them are saying the same thing, it is really, really going to be true. And I don't even have to be a recruiter to gain those insights that are available in whatever you're interested in.
That's true. So, like you said, there's something for everyone out there. You just have to kind of be brave enough to, seek out other people like you. Like I was saying earlier, how I like to connect with people that are like me, that have that commonality, but then also people that are different, because that expands you as a person as well, and your network. So, it's just, talk to people, have conversations with people that you may have never thought you would talk to before. And like how Jacqueline says she's taking improv classes, that is a perfect way to, spark conversations with people that you would never have done that before.
Right. And that took away so much fear, like just interacting, existing, presence, all of these things. But I had a great question, and then it just went away. I heard the word improv and got excited, and there it went. Talking about things that are exciting. It was definitely around the fear, the being. It was a fear aspect with people who are talk some bit. It'll come back. That's the danger of live, is sometimes I'm like, you just said the thing, and then I forgot the thing.
No, I've never done improv. It seems like so much fun. I think I need to watch some more videos, but I love like the comedy club. So I love having a good time. So I think I would probably want to attend a class.
Yeah, the basis of it at the end of the day, and this is kind of even talking to people who are considering networking or reaching out to that person that maybe they're afraid to reach out to, is like the basis of improv is yes anding life. So it's like when something comes to you, you're like, yes, and instead of no, but. Like, it's the opposite of no, but maybe one day. It's like, yes, and I'll just go try that. And it doesn't mean jump off a cliff. I say that all the time. Don't, obviously there's legit danger in the world. But if someone says hi to you in line somewhere, you don't have to look at your phone again. You could just be like, oh, hi. What brings you to Starbucks today? And that's the yes and approach. So it's like, if you can, that's what it shapes, is that ability to look at a thing and be like, yes, and I can do that.
It's so crazy because life is full of yes and no's. Even that makes me think of computer coding. It's zeros and ones, yeses and no's. Life is so full of a million no's and one yes. You know that saying how they try to talk about on LinkedIn. So I just think it's really a numbers game. Like you said, not everyone that you talk to is going to be personable, but it shouldn't stop you from having connections with people, speaking to people, and then allowing other people to come into your space and try to get to learn about you.
That's what I was going to ask about. Is there's the people are they'll send out connection requests, or they'll send out messages, hear crickets, and then start taking it really personally. How often do you actually get no response? Because again, networking masterclass, and so the masters must tell. How often do you hear nothing back?
Often. And that is the rawest, realest truth. There have been times where I was searching for a job, and I'm relentless. And I say that because in the email, I will hit send again 2, 3 times until I'm just like, no, that's doing too much. It's never doing too much, because when you are, subscribing to these companies or newsletters, they constantly are messaging you. So why not take up the same space? There are times that I've reached out to the CEO of a company, talking about what I could bring, what I can do. Like I was saying to you earlier, I'm starting to reach out to these big multi-million-dollar companies with my UGC portfolio, maybe even creative marketing director ideas. Sometimes they probably will not respond. You have to expect to not get a response almost until you can make yourself or make it so that they have no choice but to respond. It's gonna happen. You just have to keep going.
The reason I was chuckling is because I am that way. I mean, maybe okay, so I would have more fear if I'm like, I can't email a CEO, but now I'm like, yeah, yes, you can, and to go do it, because
There's
it's the yes
simplest
and life.
word.
But
It's just a button.
there's the what you said, the phrase of I often don't expect any sort of response, and I've had the tendency in my life that I also expect no response, but then when they do, I'm like, I jump all over it, and my enthusiasm might actually scare them away because I'm so excited that they open
Same.
the
Same
conversation.
here. And I don't know if it's negative to say I often don't expect a response, but it's because I don't want to attach myself to the outcome. I'm putting myself out there. Of course, I think I'm magnetic enough to foster a response. Same thing with you, but that doesn't mean that they will respond. So, I mean, it's the thought that counts. I think that is seen, and it's never in vain. So just do it.
Yeah. You're channeling my therapist, who's always like, just do your best and then let go of the outcome, which
I
is just
love that.
right? You do exactly what you can to the point that you can. And then you have to just detach from whatever that outcome is, because it's on them at that point, whether they're responding or not. You've done everything you possibly can. And
I love that.
I
That's
guess
so true.
getting comfortable with it is the more, like I'm a letting go control freak, where I'm like, oh, right. I have to let go of the things I absolutely can't control. And that's one of them. So
That's true. And also to speak to that, you don't know what the outcome is. Of course, we all hope and pray for certain outcomes, but one thing that I didn't really believe in, but I believe in so much now, is that it's really all about the journey. It's about the person you become, going from where you were, where you are now, where your current thought process, your mindset, to who you want to become. And that can take a while, but it's the journey of, those emerging thoughts and the doubt, and then the moments of confidence, and the small progressional steps that we make. It's those moments that really make you become that person in the future that you'll be proud of. So you kind of have to step out there a little bit and just fake it till you make it. I love that one too.
Yeah. My therapist also brings up the hero's journey, which is exactly what you're talking about. Is there's always going to be the antagonist, there's going to be the self-doubt, but then you're progressing to this place, and it almost cycles again. You get to that place, and now you're on a new journey. Because it's constant growth, right? So I love that you bring that up too, is the joy in the journey.
Yes, it's inevitable, and it's something that we all have to fight through, like our lives are like a movie if you see it that way. And I think it's important to see every day that way. So why not try to connect with people, see what they're about? Maybe they'll be located in the same city that you are. Maybe this will become just a new person that you can be in support of, they can be in support of you. So just, get out there, do what you love, network with people, don't take it personal, and just be very clear and concise on what you want. And finally, I would say surround yourself with people that align with that. So you have a support group.
I love that. And I want to just double down just a little bit on the find out what you want. I think that is so vital. And I used to, when I was trying to get back into tech with the 20-year almost employment gap, it was, I would take anything if I could just, where I was like, maybe I'd be a janitor if it meant I could put my resume on a hiring manager's desk. But I never did take the time to really look at what would I be great at? What could I focus that job search on? And therefore it took me so much longer to get there because I didn't define my where I was going. And that's one of the things I bring up in my course pretty early on is like, you got to know where you're going. And this is how you can figure out who you are to answer those questions. And you can always pivot. If you get to this place where you're going, you're like, I don't like this like I thought it was, the law of diminishing returns. You're like, well, okay, go do another thing. You can always pivot.
Yes. And that's part of the journey too. And I feel like one thing that I'm kind of trying to get into more on social media is excuse me, is showcasing more of a vulnerable side. Because I feel like me personally, like I was saying earlier, I'm currently employed, but I also find fulfillment in things that I do outside of work, the 5 to 9 that they like to talk about. And that is something that I think I want to really start exploring in this world, allowing that to take up more of my time. I love being in the customer success industry and helping people, being that voice of reason, really affecting the numbers, making that silent impact, I feel like, in a company, because no one really wants to be in a support role or dealing with the customers. So it's like those silent heroes. I enjoy doing that, but I also feel like my role does not have enough creativity in it.
Mm-hmm.
So that is something that we cannot forget to exercise, our creativity, because that's really where you can make a lot of money when you're creative.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I'm such a creative too. So it's like when my job started having less and less need for creativity, it's when I started feeling more like my tank was running dry because that's one of the things that led me to improv is like, I need a creative outlet that's just fun and goofy and that I can laugh and grow in. Because the job had shifted and what our priorities were. So it's important. I love that you talk about that. Yes.
Absolutely. And I could just keep going on and on. Like earlier today, I saw on LinkedIn an article about a woman. I think she's in San Francisco. She's paying couples $30,000 to be able to name their baby. So if you wanted her to name your baby, then she would charge you $30,000. And the comments were insane. Like, who could have the confidence and the thought to do this? I want you to look it up.
I think I'm in the wrong industry right now. Like, because when we named our kids, we were all in what is the meaning? What is the historical things? Why would it be important? All so anyway, our kids' names were exceedingly well thought out. But now I know my second calling is to go name babies. But
yes,
I love that.
Right?
Yeah, we are getting close to time. So you have an ebook author. Speaking of, I'm starting my cohort next week. I'm as a participant to write my book. It'll be done by the end of the year. So I'm so excited to talk about growth. That's my next scary thing that I'm tackling. But you've written an ebook. Talk about what you do, where people find you. You've talked about social media, so clearly you have a presence elsewhere. Is there a social media baby that you really love people to interact with you on, or are you just connect in one and then find me in all the others? Talk about where to find you, how to connect with you. How do people reach out and network with you?
Honestly, it's like a connect in one. You can connect with me on LinkedIn. It's Myracle Stiles or Myracle Joy. On TikTok, I'm very current there. It's Myracle J. Love making videos, and I'm sure you'll be very interested in the things that I talk about. Also, YouTube videos, I make shorts, and my ebook, I post on all of my social media platforms. The basis of my ebook is about empowerment and encouragement and really getting to be in touch with your emotions and using your emotions to empower you and have a better life. So that's something that I try to promote with everyone in my life, is always being in a good mood, being elevated, and not letting your negative emotions control your life. So my ebook discusses that. I love talking about all things empowerment, and you can shop my ebook on Amazon KDP or my Shopify account, which is linked in my social media platforms.
Okay, fantastic. I love it. And I realize we're probably not connected on TikTok, and we should just do a TikTok live one day, because we could have a similar conversation of this. And those things are the most awkward but most fun sessions ever. So I, like, I'm like, this is so weird because I'm just talking into the void, even though I'm comfortable sitting here talking into the void. It's just more fun with another person. It's more fun to talk into the void with somebody else. So, yes. I guess to wrap up, is there anything you wish I would have asked you about that we didn't cover?
Well, to believe it or not, I have a very analytical mind. So I did make a whole list of notes. I did not talk about any of the things on my notes.
Oh,
I really enjoyed our conversation. What I was just going to talk about, different ways to stay connected when it comes to networking. I wrote down text check-ins and voice notes. That's something that I'd like to utilize. Personal touches, different ways to communicate. And then I wrote down ask meaningful questions, which we talked about, and know what your why is. So why you're doing what you're doing, to stay encouraged, and you got this. Thank you so much for having me, Jacqueline.
Oh, you're welcome. You know, it's like we could talk forever, because even just what you said, even when it talks about why, as you can get so so into that, even for any post that you're posting or anything you're creating at any point. And I just kind of realized I had this aha moment, because the book that I'm writing, one of the things is, what is the transformational journey for the reader, right? But you could literally do that for any post. Is like, how has somebody changed at the end of watching my video or the end of reading my post? And it could just, to me, that is a creative juice stir like nobody's business. It's like, oh yeah, if they're going to engage in my stuff, what do they come away with in the end? So I really like the know your why for every little post, and know your bigger why so that it shapes your smaller whys. And yes. I know we could talk forever. I know we could, but thank you so much for being here. You are truly a joy to have and in my life. And I know other people reach out to Myracle. She is someone you'll just be blessed to know and to get to know. And I will say, since she is a creator, go support her content. She's working hard to make great things for people. So go send some love, download that ebook. I need to go do that, because it's very much, it's funny that I started with professional networking coaching, but what's becoming my favorite thing is teaching people confidence to do a thing. So it's like, even what I talk about and love talking about is morphing as I have more people like you on. So yes, go learn how to live a truly happy life every day, and let those emotional trains leave the station and take off to get you into ick spots, is what I'd call them. All right.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Jacqueline. And yes, live your life to the fullest, network, be a greater you. And if anyone contacts me, I would love to have a conversation. I'm based in Los Angeles, if anyone is local, and let's have a conversation.
Yes. Thank you. You heard it from her. Let's have a conversation. Go do it. All right. Thanks for anybody who's joined or watched, and we appreciate you, and look forward to reach out if you need anything. Truly, you've got guests that you recommend, or you want to be on the show because you have a great story, let's do it. So, all right. Until next time.
Bye, Jacqueline. Have a good night.
Bye. Thank you. You too.